steps. Jack is going to be on the back end working the comments. So if you have any questions, if you'll type them into that comment section, Jack will get back with you. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen so I can show you that just in case. Okay, so if you have a question and you're not used to it yet, this right here is our chat feature. So if you'll just click here and you write down, type in any of your questions that you have right here. Okay. The other thing is, just quickly before I get started, can y'all tell me, is there anybody that's brand new to Pear Deck and never used it? Miss Allman, what do you mean you don't see the join screen? You can unmute your mic if you want to tell me. I don't understand that. I'm going to shut my office door so you don't hear my children's cartoons. Okay, awesome. So this is what we're going to do. The way that I'm going to run this one is that I'm going to just walk you guys through completely start to finish on the whole Pear Deck situation. And again, as you have questions, just ask them in that comment section and Jack will answer them. And then he'll also chime in as needed.
Yep.
Sorry, I was muting somebody. He'll chime in as needed if somebody asks a question and he needs to answer it out loud. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. So what I have right here, when it pops up, this is a Pear Deck that I have, a slide deck that I have created, that I created at the beginning of the school year for elementary teachers as I was showing them how to do Pear Deck. Okay? And so, all Pear Deck is an add-on to make the slides that you've already made interactive. It's not an app or anything like that. Okay, so as you're looking at these, you can see that I've just made, it's just a slide deck. It doesn't have anything special in it yet or anything like that. Okay, so to make this slide deck work as a Pear Deck, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Pear Deck add-on. So if you've never used Pear Deck, you're going to click right here on add-ons, and then you're going to come down here to get add-ons. And then a lot of people are downloading it, so it usually shows up here, but if it doesn't, you're going to search it in the app and then click on it. And then right here, it's going to say get add-on, allow add-on, add it, something like that. You're going to click on that, and it's going to get you Pear Deck. Okay, so then you're going to give it just a second, and actually what it'll do, the first time it'll go ahead and pop up for you, but from any other time, you're going to click on add-on, Pear Deck for Google Slides, and open add-on. Okay, so from here, sorry, give me just a second. I want to make sure that. Okay, so on here, when we're looking at this, we've got several different things. So I want to make this slide interactive. So what I've done is I've added this question here. What is your experience with Pear Deck? And then what I do is I'm going to make it a multiple choice question. So I'm going to click right here. I've already made this one a Pear Deck question, so I've already added these choices in here. But when you do it, it's going to be blank. And so then you're going to come in and you're going to add whatever you want, and then you're going to click Update Slide. Okay, you'll know that it's an interactive slide because does everybody see this Perry right here where it says students can choose an option? That's how you know it's an interactive slide. Do not mess with this at all. After you've put it in, don't mess with it. If you move it or if you accidentally delete it, it then becomes just a regular slide again and you cannot interact with it. Okay. So some of you may want to do, you may you're not sure exactly how you want to make the interactive slide. So if you come over here where it says our template library and you click on it, there's several different things you can do. We have a beginning of the lesson and there's templates in here that you can pick from, right? And so maybe you want to know what they learned from the homework. If I click on that, it'll pop in for me. It'll pop in for me, and then I have this one. It's already an interactive slide, and the students will be able to write their responses. If you like, oh, wait, I don't like that one, it's just like deleting a slide out of your slide deck. Just press delete, and it removes itself. So we have during the lesson, end of lesson. There's some critical thinking slides that you can look at, social emotional slides. And then here are some example questions for any content area. If you teach K through 2, here's some slides that you can use just for them. And again, these are just templates. And so you can customize them for however you want. So like, let's say this one, and you wanted it not to say cat, bat, and rat. You can make it say something different and add those in. So if I wanted to say, I don't know, another different word like fat, I don't know. You can make it do whatever you want, and you can change out all of these things. So they're completely customizable. So there are templates down here if you want to look at them or add them into your already made Pear Deck. Do we have any questions about that so far? Or Jack, are we good to keep going?
Can you add more than one multiple question to a slide? No, you can't.
Yeah. Just make it 2 slides. Just make it 2 slides. So you can do you can do one slide as a multiple choice question, and then the next slide would be a multiple choice question. You never want to add more than one question per a slide, and that's going to save you time on helping grade or assess where your students are at. It'll keep you sane. And I'll show you why here in just a little bit. Any other questions, Jack?
So those templates are they're all available. They come exactly from Pear Deck. That's kind of the templates that they have. MISE we don't provide any templates or anything. That's all Pear Deck. After you make a Google slide and add pick, can you upload to Seesaw? That's kind of a loaded question. You wouldn't upload the Pear Deck itself. You would just put a code into Seesaw, which could be a self-paced code, which Jenna will go over in a little while. Is there a recording capability? Jenna?
What do you, whoever's asking that question, can you unmute your mic and tell me what you mean by what do you mean by recording capability?
Like the kids are you talking about, can they record themselves or whatnot?
Oh, you can add a Flipgrid in so that they can record from Flipgrid, but no, there's not a recording capability for Pear Deck. However, that is a really good suggestion. And so
Pear Deck itself works really well with adding things in. Like if you wanted to add in a Google form or a Flipgrid or something, it'll come up on the right-hand side for the kids, and they can answer the form and do the Flipgrid all from Pear Deck. They don't ever have to leave. So that's actually those are really good features that it includes in.
They are, but just remember that when you do that, to see the Flipgrid things, you don't go back to Pear Deck to look at it. You look at it on Flipgrid. But yeah, for sure. And the way that you would do that is just by clicking on this website. And then adding your link in here, whatever it is. Okay. Also, on these templates, like this is a Pear Deck template, and I just customized it. I took the template and then I just customized it to make it mine, because all of the templates kind of look the same. And so I didn't like the fact that my students were having to look at the same thing over and over again. So I customized the template. So you can totally customize and use your own theme or whatever you want to do as far as that is concerned. Okay, so after you have your Google Slides presentation fixed and you've doctored it up with all of the interactive slides, in order to get it to our kids, there's 2 different ways that you can do this. most of you, if you've used Pear Deck, you've probably done it with synchronous, meaning that everybody's doing it all at the same time. But with distance learning, it's going to be a little bit harder to make sure that all of your kids are on there at the same time and that you're able to control the Pear Deck. So what you're actually going to do is give them a code so that they can go in and complete it at any time, okay? When the most convenient for them. Now let's talk about how we do that. So right here in the top right-hand corner, this part right here on the green part where it says present lesson, you're not going to present it from here. This is going to just present your Google Slides presentation. I've had several teachers email me and say it's not working right, and it's because they're presenting it from here. Don't use this one. You're going to use this one under the Pear Deck add-on. You're going to click present lesson. And this is going to come up. That's another thing I want to show you guys is that if you press present lesson and you're on the 5th or 6th slide, that's where the presentation is going to start. And so you don't want your presentation to start there with the students. So once this loads up, I'll show you how to fix that before you send it out. Okay, this is the teacher dashboard. And so I'm going to just go ahead and close that. And then right here, I'm on slide 9. I'm going to roll back up to slide 1 before I do anything else. And then if everybody will look down in the bottom right hand of my screen, you'll see these 3 dots right here. What you're going to do is click on those 3 dots. And then you're going to click right here on turn on student paste. Okay, so you're going to click on the 3 dots and then turn on student paste. And this is going to be the pop-up that you get. What you'll want to do is copy this link right here. And then you're going to click OK, got it. So copy this link and then click OK, got it. Now, from here to get it out to your students, you'll go over to your Google Classroom. Now, if everybody look at the top, I have all these tabs open with different browsers. I'm going to my Google Classroom right now. This is my test class. So I've already gotten into it, but if you're not super familiar with Google Classroom, it's going to look like this with all the classes that you're a part of. Click on the class that you're going to use, and then go to classwork. And then you're going to click create. And I'm going to make it a material. And the reason that I'm making it a material is because you cannot grade a Pear Deck from Google Classroom. You're going to go to Pear Deck to grade a Pear Deck. And I will show you that also here in just a minute. But that's why I make it a material, so that way students won't have to go back in and click that they've done it and turn it in or anything like that. They're just going to be able to do it, and then you'll know that they've done it because you open it up in Pear Deck to see that. Okay, so then I'm going to say this is Friday. I'm going to just title this Friday at 9 because that's what we're working. That's where I'm at. And then I'm going to click add right here, link, and then I'm going to paste that link in. And then I'm going to say, open this Pear Deck and complete the slides. Okay, so I know that you guys see right here where it says sign in Google accounts. It's going to say that, and the reason it's going to say that is because they're going to have to sign in if they haven't used Pear Deck in a while. It'll take them to the portal. They'll sign in if they haven't already signed in through the portal, and then they're in. And that's really great because then you'll know exactly what students doing what slide. Okay. Now from here, you can put it in whatever. I'm going to say that I want this to go out the week of March 23rd. And then here's another thing that I've been asked a lot about is, so this weekend, I want to put all of my stuff in for next week, but I want the kids to do it in a certain order. So you can actually schedule that material. Now, here's the caveat to that. If I was going to put it in for more than one class, let's say I was going to put it into 2, I would not be able to schedule. But I can put it into one class, click here, and I can click schedule. And then I'm going to schedule it to go out on Monday at 10 a.m. and click schedule. So it will not appear, I can see it, but it will not appear in the Google Classroom for your students until Monday morning at 10. Okay. Questions about that so far?
If you have a classroom Weebly set up, can the link be pasted there too? As long as the Pear Deck session is live, then like the link will work. But as soon as you end it or something, then it's not going to work anymore.
And we'll talk about ending the session in just a second.
It can be posted anywhere you want as long as it's live. She asked about working to only posted in Google Classroom. It can be posted anywhere as long as it's live. As soon as you end it, like I said, it's not live and the link will just be there. And it won't really work.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. So let's go back over here to this presentation session right here. So when I'm done with the presentation, I'm going to click end right here. And then I'm going to say, this is certainly, so I'm going to say, yes, I'm sure. And then I'm going to title it. It's really important. You don't have to title it, but it's really important for organizational purposes for you to title the session that as it ends. Okay. And then make sure you click publish student takeaways. And I'm going to show you what that is and why here in just a minute.
So 2 things. So your link is live right now. Yes. So hers link, or the one she's doing right now, is kind of live. She's about to end it right there with publish takeaways. How long can you leave a Pear Deck running? I mean, you can leave it running indefinitely forever, essentially.
You won't want to, but you can.
No. And
you can also, let's say that you gave them a week to do it and everybody but 3 people got it done and they just said, hey, I've been sharing my computer time with my 3 siblings and I just need a little bit more time. You can turn it back on for them. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Was there another one, Jack?
No, that's it.
Okay. So on here, this is called takeaways, and I'm going to show you what that is in just a minute, but this is another important thing that you can do for your students. Because if you are doing, like if you're taking your Google Slides that maybe have information on it and you want them to have that information, you'll want to share this takeaway so that they can always get back to what you presented to them, and then also they can see their work. So right here, when you share this link with your students, the way that you're going to share the link with the students, the easiest and best way is through Google Classroom. But if you're using something different, if you're using Seesaw, or if you're using a Weebly site, you can still share this. Make sure though that like if you're sharing it on a Weebly, and it's a Weebly for not each individual class, but it's just your Weebly, that you tell them that this is math class or that this is first period's link, because it's not going to link for all of your classes. It's just going to link for whoever joined this Pear Deck. It's one link. And if I click on it, then I'm going to be able to see all of my students. But if a student clicks on it, they're only going to be able to see theirs. Okay. But a really easy way to do that is to share it to the Google Classroom. And then click the class that you want to share it with. And then I'm going to share it as a material. And then I'm going to click go. It'll bring me to my class. And then I can say Friday at 9 takeaways. And then I can post it to whatever topic you want to post it to. And I can click post. Now I know that I posted it there preemptively before they've actually done. You won't post these takeaways until you've ended the session. So on the Google Classroom, you're going to still see that I've got one scheduled, and then they already have their takeaways. That's not how it's going to look on your classroom when you do this, because you won't publish these takeaways until after the session is completely done. Okay. All right. So what is a takeaway? So when you start your very first Pear Deck session, the first thing that Pear Deck does is automatically in your drive creates a Pear Deck folder. Now my Pear Deck folder will look a little bit different than yours once you start this, because we've been using Pear Deck all school year, and I'm a Pear Deck coach, so I have some other things that I have to do within Pear Deck. But what you'll see when you open yours up is decks, and takeaway. Okay, decks and takeaway. And so when I click on these takeaways, and then I was in elementary back to school, and then this is how many times I presented it. And so if I click on Friday at 9, nobody joined, so there's not any takeaways, but I have this one right here. This is really great for our students who don't have technology. If you do set up one student session and call it no technology session, it'll pop up, and then you can pull this one out, and it's a blank one that you can then print off. See, with blank responses right here, you can then print this off for your students who don't have technology, where they'll still be able to get the Pear Deck that you did, and they'll also be able to they can answer the questions, right? So, for example, this one right here. What is your experience with Pear Deck? They can use their pencil or their pen and write in whatever the answer is right there. Okay? Questions about that?
No.
Okay, so I want to show you right here, elementary session 2. I did this one, and what you can see here is all of my students. So I have access and ownership to all of these. My students will get these, they'll be under their shared with me, and that's why it's really important to do that takeaway link and put it in the Google Classroom, so that way you don't have to train your students to go to shared with me to find it. Okay, they just click on that link in Google Classroom and it'll take them right here. This is really great if you want to interact afterwards with your students. So this is one of my one of my students that I had in the class. And so I can, as the teacher, this is one way that I could go through and grade or give feedback. It's a little bit cumbersome because you would open up every single one of them, but depending on how you want to do it, you can totally do it this way. And I could just go through and I could make comments. So like if I wanted to say that they did something wrong here, I would be able to say, try again. Or even better, I could click over here and I can click this comment button and I could comment to them. And they'll get that comment when they open that back up. You can also assign this to them. That would be a whole nother topic, but if you're interested in doing that so that they get a post for that, let me know and I can create a video on how to do that. So here's the takeaways. Now, an easier way for you to look at all of your sessions is to go to the Pear Deck home. So it's peardeck.com, peardeck.com, and then it's going to open up like this. Okay, after you say, you're going to click teacher login, and then you're going to open up and you're going to see this view right here. Okay, so you're going to click on sessions. Let me hide this so we can look at it. Okay. Let me refresh. I already had it open before I did Fridays, so it's not showing. Okay. So here it is. Now notice I thought I had already closed it out, but it's showing me that it's still student paced. So clearly it's not closed out. So the way that I'm going to do that is by clicking right here, and I'm going to click end session. So now it's closed out. Okay. Now to go back in and see what my students wrote, so that way I can start grading, I'm going to click right here. Now I didn't have any students in this class, so if I click there, it's not going to be helpful for you guys. So I want to come down here to this session right here, and I'm going to open it up so I can show you what it looks like with student responses. How are we doing on time, Jack?
We're good. We have 30 minutes left.
Okay. So this is one of the questions that I had well, I'll start with this one. So let's say this was a true ABC question and there's a correct answer. There's several different ways that I can look at this to give the right answers. So this right here is grid view. Up here in the left-hand corner is where my mouse is, grid view. And so I can see that Kimberly Howard chose B, okay? I can also look at it in an overlay layout. And let's say that B was the correct answer. I could click here and I could see all of my students who got it correct. Okay. I could also, or I could do it this way and see which ones got it not correct and got it wrong, right? So that's just one way that you can grade. On the draggables, you can grade it like, you can do a list view, which is what I have going right here. This is the list view where you can see where they've put their dot. You can also do it in a grid view where you can see, there we go, where you can see where they put their dot. If this is something that how you want to grade, I would not suggest the overlay on this one because it just becomes a jumbled mess. And although you can go around and look, if you're just trying to figure out, like if this was like, do you understand, agree, or disagree, then we would know that maybe Valerie, Colleen, and maybe Mark need a little bit more help on it. So you can use it that way if you're not grading, but it's more difficult to grade if it's that way. Best practice for distance learning, I would tell you to only choose like 2 or 3 slides to grade. I would not try to grade every single slide that you made interactive. Show yourself some grace and show your students some grace. Because remember, we do have students, like I said, they have little brothers and little sisters that they're having to watch, or maybe they're the little brother and sister that are being watched. And so not everybody has a device for everything. And then also, yes, Pear Deck can be used on mobile devices, on cell phones. But just remember, if that's what they're using, they're doing all of their schoolwork on that cell phone. And like we have English teachers that are asking to write essays. And so they're having to figure out how to write an essay on a cell phone. That's going to take a little bit longer than having a desktop computer or a laptop computer or a Chromebook. So just show a little bit of grace. Best practice to show a little bit of grace and for you and your students, and don't grade every single slide in the Pear Deck that you have made interactive. Jack, what am I leaving off? This is my first time to record this, sir. So I want to make sure I cover everything.
Can one Pear Deck be used for multiple classes? I wouldn't advise it because then that's going to make grading kind of a mess.
Yeah, I would do a Pear Deck per class because it's going to make it easier for you. You're not going to have near as many students to have to grade off of. And the way that you do that is over here. You would present the lesson. Just like we did. And then you're going to leave it running and you go back to pick up your next one and present that lesson. And you can have as many over here on this sessions. Let me exit this and show you on my session board. We're going to ignore that. Okay. See how this one's live? This one's live. I have many of them that are still live and running, and that's okay that you have them still, that you still have them live and running. So that's what you would have. You'd have like 4 student paced running or whatever. And again, totally okay to have them that way. In fact, I really need to turn these off, but I can go back to them at any time. Also, I wanted to show you guys this down here. You know, with our kids being secluded and us being secluded, I'm sure that y'all are already starting to feel that truly socially distant from your colleagues and from other adults. Same thing with our students. So at the beginning of every Pear Deck, you can make it so that you can ask them how they're doing. And as you guys can see right here on the mood, this tells me how my students are feeling. Okay, this is a good temperature check on how your kiddos are feeling. If you do 2 Pear Decks and they have the yellow, you might reach out to them. Or if they have the red, you might reach out to them or have a counselor reach out to them and make sure everything's going okay. This black one right here, this just means that they chose to skip it. And so I always, when I'm putting it in the Google Classroom, I always say the first question is going to be, how are you feeling? Please tell me truly how you are feeling. Please don't skip it. so that way you can kind of get a handle on how your kiddos are feeling. And this is how you find out how they're, you can see it when you look here. Like if I go to grid view, I can see it here, or I can always click up here and be able to see it. Okay. What other questions do you guys have about Pear Deck?
Can myself or students add immersive reader to a self-paced Pear Deck?
Immersive reader, yes. Immersive reader, they do have the option of that. You're the one that has to add it. And let me show, I've not ran a Pear Deck with immersive reader. Disclaimer. Now I can figure it out. So if you have an issue with it, please email me. I'll give you my email address in just a minute. But this is how you turn immersive reader on. So when you're at this peardeck.com home, you scroll down to the bottom. Everybody see, I'm at peardeck.com in the home, and then you come right here to settings. This is also where you'll turn on that mood or classroom climate. So right here, I have classroom climate. I have it on, and it tells me, they get to tell me their mood, and they get to tell me a thumbs up if they think that the class went well, or a thumbs down if they think that it did not go well. You can choose if you want mood only or feedback only. And then here's immersive reader. So you just click that and turn that on. Same thing with Google Classroom. Click it and turn that on, as well as takeaways. And then this is a newer one. I would suggest that you always require your students to log in. That's how we could see each of the kids' names. If you turn this off, you won't know who did what, because they don't have to sign in, so therefore their name is not attached. Or they can give a fake name. And we do use Google. We don't use Microsoft. I know it's kind of confusing because teachers use Outlook, which is Microsoft, but it's all ran under the Google. So make sure that if you're looking at that, make sure you have it turned on and to Google, not Microsoft. What else?
I have a question.
That's it. Oh.
Sure.
So for the middle school teachers with multiple periods, we would just label each Pear Deck with a period, and then let's say I have 5 periods, those would all be open at one time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it won't be too convoluted for you as the teacher. That shouldn't be that big of a deal for you as the teacher to have that many running at the same time. It's just a matter of clicking. You're not going to, you'd have to go into each one to see individually. So it's not going to be a jumbled mess for you.
And I would give each period a different link in Google Classroom?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. There was a question just now. Can you share a Pear Deck with another teacher? Yes. And let me show you how to do that so that way you are not, once you make that Pear Deck, you do not want to share it as a Google Slides document. And the reason, the reason is pretty simple. Because they can come in and they can edit it, right? So when you look over here at present lesson, there's also a spot right here that they may have moved it. No, okay, publish and share your lesson. This is what you want to click. You are not publishing your lesson for everyone to see. It's going to give you a link that you can share with teachers. Okay. So you're going to click right here, publish your lesson. It kind of makes it sound like it's going to, but it doesn't go to anybody. Okay. You click all of this, credit, you click this, and then you click publish my lesson.
Any tips, Jenna, for students with accommodations?
Say that again, Jack.
Any tips for students with accommodations?
Can I teach students with accommodations?
Any tips?
Tips. Yeah. Hold on. Give me just a second. Okay. So right here on this link, I'm going to copy the link to the clipboard. And actually what I'm going to do, just so that you guys can see, I'm going to add this in here. And if you guys will, when y'all get a second, if y'all want to click on that, it'll open up the exact thing that the elementary back to school Pear Deck and how to Pear Deck for you guys. And then y'all have a copy of it that y'all can use, but it won't compromise the integrity of mine or the way that I want it. Okay, Felix, you said, do you have any tips for students with accommodations? Can you unmute your mic and speak a little bit further on that?
Yes, what I'm thinking about, because our principal mentioned that we need to make sure we are meeting our students' accommodation, regardless whether it's distance learning or not.
Right.
So, like,
what are some of the common accommodations that you have?
What is it?
Because like you can do the immersive reader, and then,
right. I was thinking about that.
And then I know when I was in the classroom, one of my common accommodations was a copy of the notes. And so when you give them that takeaway, they then have the copy of the notes.
I know some of them, a few of them have reduced assignments, which I guess I would have to create maybe a shorter Pear Deck for them.
Well, actually, honestly, what I would do is I'm going to show you right here. For that, I would come in here, and when I create and I put my link in, I'm going to just use this one. Let me edit this one. It's not going to work perfectly because I don't have students in here, but see right here where it says for all students, when you click on this, your list of your students in your Google Classroom will come up. And let's say that you have 3 of them that are reduced assignment. You can click on those 3 students and give them that same exact link, but over here in the description, say pick 4 slides to answer.
Okay.
So you give them an option to pick just 4 of the 8 that you want. And then you would post another material test class and then just click on all students, but leave off those 3 students.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And then, I mean, preferential seating, just tell them to sit in the living room. By their mom.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Any other questions? That's pretty much the end of my presentation. So as far as what I had planned to show you guys, but this is the time where you can unmute your mic and ask questions, or if you feel like you've gotten everything that you need, don't feel like you have to stay in this meet. You're welcome to go. You're welcome to stay too. I'm not kicking you out, but you don't feel like you have to stay. But if you have questions, now is a good time for you to ask, and Jack and I can answer it. And like I said, I deal mainly with middle school and high school, but Jack has elementary, so he can totally help you with any of your elementary questions, because bless the elementary teachers. You guys are welcome. Thank y'all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Let us know what we can help you with. Oh, email is J Montgomery, because I told you I'd give y'all my email. J Montgomery, no numbers.